Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from the live stream and also those that are present with us physically. So, welcome to the second session of day 4 of MUSA General Elections debating session. So, here with us today is the candidates for the head of clubs and societies. They are Hebe and also Tran Hong from Equitas. So, before we proceed with their opening statement, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Aaron and I'm the General Elections Returning Officer this year. So without further ado, now I'd like to pass the stage to Hebe and Tran Hong to introduce themselves and their manifesto.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I am Tran Hong and I'm running for the head of clubs and societies together with Hebe, who is sitting right next to me. So let's start with an introduction of myself. I am Tran Hong and I'm studying computer science. And this year I had the opportunity to initially be the part of the CNS as the subcom in sports officer department. And I was the finance manager, it's like a treasurer, where I was managing the finance related stuff for Monash Cup, all the way from the tryouts to the end of the Monash Cup. And up until later in the year, I had a really great opportunity to serve as the CNS treasurer, and I have a great opportunity to expand my responsibilities and also take on more tasks within CNS. And I was working together with Hebe, who is also a CNS treasurer. Having worked with CNS this year, I'm deeply grateful that I am able to get a lot of first-hand insights and experience that regarding the operation of CNS, directly through my tasks and also indirectly through communications with people in CNS and MUSA. I've noticed a lot of potential in clubs and societies, and I'm looking forward to applying what I've learned and to contribute to the development of CNS and build upon what has already been done by our predecessor in CNS. Overall, we are committed to bring the students together through the clubs and societies and all our events, building an engaged community where everyone feels connected. So that's part of my self-introduction, and I'll pass the mic to Hebe for her to introduce herself.
Okay, so thank you, Tran Hong. So hi everyone, I'm Hebe. So I'm currently running for our head of club and society for next year. So I'm do a short introduction for myself. So I'm year 2 Sem 2 student from School of Pharmacy. So I'm now taking for Bachelor of Pharmacy degree. And I'm excited to have this opportunity to apply my interest and also my experience to this role. And also previously, as Tran Hong said, I have served as the CNS treasurer before for this semester and then for the past semester. So that from those things, I have learned many things from there, and then throughout the course of our assigned duty and also my responsibility, we have encountered many situations such as managing the clubs with many staff, many funding things, and then our main events, our Monash Cup, right? So that we have learned many things from there, and it provides us valuable insight into our operation in our divisions, so that I'm looking forward to using this experience to serve as CNS head for 2025. Okay, so after our introduction, right, so I'm going to briefly talk about our manifesto. Okay, so we're going to express a few points regarding what we wanted to do in the future and bring to future CNS. So first point is engagement and regular updates. As we heard that from my friends and also some students, they're talk about like they will like miss the events by many reasons, such as like not receive any notification from our Instagrams or the club's Instagram so on, and then they have missed the event, so that they miss the event to attend the activity, so that yeah, they're quite disappointed that. So our goal is like want or everyone to stay engaged with what happened in the Monash, and then like we will ensure that we send out the timely reminder and also the updates, so that they can know better for our events, and then like try to reach out to us for more informations by the social medias, like doing some things like weekly schedules on our Instagrams or social medias. And also we try to doing a new thing is like something bi-weekly newsletter, so that the student can get more information and updated things through their emails. And also for our second part is our communication and Q&A sections. So as we wanted to create a more friendly and welcoming environment for those club and society and also our student committee, so we found that issues that may happen during or after the events mainly come with like communication error, as we know that communication can make the things easier, and then we can discuss some ideas and then share our updating ongoing progress. And okay, so like sharing the program can let the error become minimized. So we are likely to have a communication channel and weekly consultation for our online Q&A sections, and we wanted to continue using our Telegram as our main communication channel, so that the club and society have the chance to direct PM to us and then discuss about like further events, and also reach out for us for like more info. Visit us during the office hour in office, so that we can have the physical meetings or discussion for their further events happening. And also this can ensure that the club and society can run smoothly, and also during the semester and during the events, so that we can create more special and interest events for our fellow friends. So I will pass the mic to Chen Hong to continue the last two manifesto.
Thank you. And so for our manifesto, there's 2 more points. And for Monash Club 2025, we have emphasized on making it an unforgettable experience for every single student, regardless of their skill levels. So we really want to put a focus on the students, like everyone, regardless of even how good they are in playing sports, they will have an opportunity to shine in the month-long event. So in order to achieve that, we are planning to have some challenges that are sports related, and also workshops for students on top of all of the competitions that we usually have, so that everyone could participate in and get to know more about sports during Monash Club. And the other point is to continue to build on the legacy of our predecessor. So there's actually a lot of system that has been, there's already some systems that are already very effective in our CNS, and like the EMS tracker, where how we handle the EMS systematically. So we are committed to continue to build on their successful efforts, and also at the same time create a supportive and productive atmosphere where everyone can work together in harmony and at the same time effectively. So that's the 4 points of a manifesto, and also marks the end of our opening statement. Thank you.
All right, so that's a very in-depth opening statement from the candidates. So I'd like to invite the current head of clubs and societies, Kirara, to the podium to ask some questions to the candidates. Please give a round of applause to Kirara.
Thank you, Aaron, and I guess good afternoon. On behalf of Phoebe and my other head of clubs and societies, I will be asking the questions for our successors. So, Hebe and Chuanhong. First question, could you guys briefly explain what and how the bi-weekly newsletter will be exposed to the student population? You guys mentioned emails, but can you guarantee that reach?
So a newsletter is basically is subscription-based, because newsletter, you have to subscribe to it, and then you will receive the emails with the newsletter. So what we would do is it's a voluntarily sign up kind of thing. So if you're interested in our CNS events, you could sign up for the newsletter.
So if you're saying it's subscribed, like it's voluntarily done, then how can you guarantee that reach is going to be high? And let's say if it's low, right? Are you guys going to still proceed with it throughout the year, or
Okay, so for newsletter, I think we could have incentives like at the start of the semester, like during CNS week, we could promote it to the students that we have a new kind of initiatives, which is newsletter, and they could sign up. Maybe we could do some giveaways. Giveaways, since we have some leftovers,
right?
Stuff from
Okay.
CNS, then
That's
we could,
good.
yep, that's an
Right.
incentive, yeah.
Okay.
But basically, I think we will start with a sort of try run, and then we kind of predict how much we have, because newsletter, we have like the user base. Based on the user base, we have to
Yeah.
have different packages as well. Yeah.
All right. So, but you guys just plan to engage students through social media and this newsletter, nothing else.
Well, there's also physical publicity stuff.
Okay.
Where like we could have more interactive promotions. Like during Monash Cup, we could have like setting up posters, setting up like a physical booth in the campus,
Okay.
which is also like very effective for students who comes to campus who could see our stuff what's going on. Yep.
Okay. Just a small follow-up then. So physical posters aren't necessarily outdated, but I feel like they don't draw as much appeal or attention from students compared to social media content. How will you guys ensure that the message still reaches the students?
Do you want to answer that?
Okay, sorry. Okay, so this like some things I reached out to our student committee, right? Okay, so because we try to promote our events like for like physical or like social media parts, but we saw that the social media part is actually more effective and more convenience to us, as social media you can sharing all the posts in your story, or like everyone, your friends, your common friends, you can saw the post, right? So like that you can share everything on the social media, like pressing the buttons and then like share, right? So like if doing physical posting, right, they will have like some issues, like something you want to like printing out, you want to take the approval from like your people above you side.
Right.
Yeah, right. So it's take time, and also like more on like pros and cons things. So it's better to doing social media, like doing like story posting, and also like we can do a like weekly schedule things, like okay, so like in our social media page we can like putting the weekly schedule highlight so that they can find out what will happen within this week. So like because like in first week we have the like CNS week, some things like that, and then like, they can find out, oh, like CNS week they got a training section, some things from the clubs, so that they can go through our social media from the highlight there. They can sort of, oh, do they have any training sections, and then they can join about that. Yeah, so some things like that.
Okay, let me rephrase my question.
Okay, sorry.
So I mentioned how physical posters aren't outdated, but they don't appeal as much. So I understand that you guys will still continue using social media, but I'm saying, how will you make sure that having physical posters out or any physical promotional material out for Monash Cup, CNS Week, any CNS related event, efficient or as efficient as social media?
So what I think is that with physical promotion is kind of like a breaking point into our content. So like when the students don't get the CNS content on their social media, but what if they saw our advertisement or promotions in campus, then they could search up CNS on Instagram maybe to get more details. Maybe you could also include like QR code on the posters so they can get further details, and also like we can add our Instagram handle where they could just directly message us for more details if they want. Yep.
All right, so another follow-up question to that. So Student Life has placed a guideline where where physical posters can be like posted around campus, and usually people miss like where it is because obviously there are other posters that are bigger or more vibrant or whatever it may be. So what I am asking again is, how would you ensure that people will basically like be curious and look at our Instagram, or like how do you guarantee that it'll reach to that process. You guys can take your time.
Okay. So what we'll do is, obviously we have to have our publicity work really hard. We have to work with our really
Yes.
closely with them. And I think it's about the designs. We have to put some emphasis on the designs, like make it eye-catching and stuff. So it's very important to hire someone with a portfolio. I think we have experience where we don't have a portfolio, and then it's kind of hard to proceed with all the design and stuff. So
Absolutely,
we then have to find people with experience, and we can work together. Yep.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Right, so in your manifesto, you guys have talked about communication and the Q&A section. Please give us insight as to how you guys will be streamlining communication between the division and the clubs and societies.
Okay. Okay, so for communication within our division, right? So we normally having like bi-weekly meetings, like something same as this semester and this year, so that we can like update their situation for the progressing or like activities, and also like maybe we can using more on social media, like Telegram chat groups, so that there can like more communications between the divisions. And if like for club and society, so first things first, so is like using the social medias like Telegrams, we will like create a groups like something similar with this year, like using the Telegram groups as the channel to let them like given something updating things, and also like some notifications we can given to them. And also if they really want a physical meeting with us, like just now I mentioned, you can like go in when visit us like during the office hour, so that we have a face-to-face meeting. So it's like, I think it's more like effective, because like face-to-face meeting, right, you can like discuss more questions, like not same with the online one, right? Yeah, so and also like we gonna have like weekly consultations, like they have issues on like applying the EMS, right? They can asking us questions during the weekly consultation, some things like that, so that we can answering their questions, so they will like not doing wrong things, and then take them into the right way to solve it the questions.
All right, so I'll ask about the consultations in a bit. But what I meant by streamlining communication is that there's about 60 plus clubs and societies at the moment. So obviously you might be overwhelmed with like the number of inquiries you might get. So you also mentioned social media. Does that imply that you guys are gonna talk to them through a different channel aside from Telegram as well? And like right now we have separate groups for presidents, one announcement group, and that one like for everybody, right? So are you guys gonna change anything up? Is it gonna remain the same? Like what do you guys intend to improve about that? So yeah.
So for the streamlining part, I guess we would continue what has been working this year. So we have all those groups, and I think it really like we have very specified presidents, like communication with presidents, with clubs in general, and also announcement group.
Right.
I think that is already pretty streamlined, but I think we can have, maybe we could have a review of the whole thing, and we could have a meeting with like our team and come up with improvements and like refinement of our communication channels, which I think it requires a lot of thinking to put into that, and also we have to adapt to whatever is like the situation that comes up next year. Maybe we could make amendments that is required to make it even more effective, like built on top of what we have now.
Okay, but based on this year, like have you guys noticed anything that you'd like to change by next year, like within that like communication? Not internally, but between the club societies and then the division as well. So between us.
So is it between clubs and CNS?
So CNS, which is the division,
Yep.
and the clubs and societies. So like those Telegram group chats, right? Like the communication, is there anything that you guys would like to improve upon? Is there anything you guys like to change? That's what I mean by like, how would you streamline for next year? Yeah. I mean, I understand that you guys like do require time to think, but like maybe you guys can discuss among yourself a bit and then let us know.
Okay, so talk about like communication, right? If like you think like I think we'll like continue using the similar way as this year. Like I think it's like because like what I've seen in the Telegram, right, is more like effective and then like run smoothly or on all the progressing. So like I think it's better. And also the things like we're planning to do so is like we can open a group if like they got like special events, some things like grouping for special events team, like one club having a huge events and then they need communication with us, right? So that we can create a special group chat with them so that the communication within the team, yeah. And I think like we'll continue using for that and changing for like a special group when having a huge event, some things like that.
All right. Thank you. All right. So you guys would like to foster a sense of community and engagement, especially with students. But what if they are introverted or like are less likely to attend office hours and those consultation sessions? Like, how will you deal with that?
So, is it about weekly consultation and office hours?
Yes.
So, this is actually more towards the clubs.
I see.
Yeah. So, for this one, I think for the clubs, overall they are quite proactively reaching out to us.
Yes.
Yep. So I think office hours and weekly consultation should work. And vision is more of like where everyone can join in, and so like when somebody asks about like EMS, then everyone can have the shared information as well. And then office hours would be like maybe some clubs would like to have some events, so they could come in and like have a face-to-face discussion with us. Like we can provide some support, then we can have some discussion on how to proceed with the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So small follow-up. So you guys will have a basically open door policy. How will you ensure that you guys don't burn out from, having too many like interactions of the same, or basically like, it's quite repetitive, right? Like they're about to ask the same things. I know you guys are going to condense that to like the weekly, but how do we make sure that people don't overstep that boundary with time, especially when it's too late or too early for you guys?
Yeah. Okay. So for office hours, actually, we have a plan to actually share a Google Calendar for them, where that's our available hours that whichever time we'll be in the office, so that they don't come to the office and there's no one there. So
Absolutely.
yep, it would be like a schedule released to them, so everyone knows that we're in the office and they could probably message us before they come in to make a confirmation, like a reservation or some sort. Yeah.
All right. So last question about that manifesto point. So how will you guys ensure transparency and communication and address potential conflicts or complaints raised through the maybe Q&A section or just communication in general without having any delays?
So the question is about handling feedback?
Mostly about transparency.
Transparency. Can you give me like a scenario, like?
Sure. Let's say like there is a conflict between clubs, and maybe like one club doesn't really want to mention it to the other, like Club A and Club B. B has a problem, but they don't want to tell A, but they have a problem with them. So like, how would you guys make sure that like you guys are transparent about what's happening, but not necessarily going about and telling Club A everything, something like that?
Well, I think if they have a conflict, it's best for them to come into the office together to sort things out, sort of understand each other, and then in order for, like, make them try to understand what's the other one trying to, what's the conflicts over there, and then after that, they could express their own points to convince, maybe to resolve the conflict. So I think they could really make use of the office hours where we would be like a neutral part that is there to support the conversation and also like to help them in the process of resolving the conflicts. Right.
Okay, in the face of these types of conflicts, maybe not that one, maybe a different one, how will you guys conduct this? What is the process, and who will be present to ensure that it's not biased?
I'm sorry, Kara. Can you
Yes.
say some example on the bias? How is a bias? How like
Let's say with this year, we had an issue with one of the MUSA communities, and it was against a club. So how will you make sure that whatever decision that you make, an executive decision, is not biased towards the club, though you serve the clubs and societies to make sure that the parties involved are satisfied relatively?
okay, so like some things, these issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need more internal communication first, like within me and Chen Hong, so that we will decide or discuss more like pros and cons, and then like what happens, what really happens, and then what should we do. As just now he said that we are the third party, the neutral third party, right? So we can't like really push on that, right? So we need to like think about before we doing the decisions. So we are discussing what's wrong and then what is the correct, and then like try to like solve the question to like win-win situations. So like not just like one person win for the teams and then like say, yeah, right. So we need to like think for both sides. So I think it's like communication and discussion before we giving the solutions or conclusions. Yeah. So can reduce the bias, something like that.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next point. Monash Cup 2025. Right. So can you explain to us how you guys will be making it a, quote, unforgettable experience while still abiding by the new safety rules and regulations imposed by student life?
Okay, thank you for the question.
Yep.
And so to engage the students, where our vision is to like not only like really good sports player who gets to participate in competitions, right? So we would have some we could have like trivia, we could have like some workshops where they could try out some challenges maybe related to the sports. Like they could have like a free throw challenges during the halftime, where they could also engage in some kind of sports activities, and also through this they would come to watch the match because there's some activities for them also. So I think this will be within the safety regulations, so it's still quite safe to execute this plan. And also we will have some challenges, mostly challenges and workshops, and we could also do some giveaways with Monash Cup merchandise, and that's the way we could make them engage and participate in this Monash Cup. Yeah.
Okay, just now you've mentioned that you might plan to do a free throw challenge during halftime, during a basketball match. This is the example. How will you ensure that that doesn't disrupt the actual game, so it doesn't like overcrowd or create that, and I guess issues with crowd control? Yeah. And how do you make sure that it doesn't sort of like shift that focus from the game to the initiative that you guys intend to impose?
Okay, so like this is important on time managing things. Like you need to schedule all the things, like not causing all the things like clashing together, right? So that we can separate on like the timing. So like if like the club's activities is during like after 8 or 9, something like that, so that we can push the events, our like challenging events during like 5, 6, about like that, like having a 2 hours challenging. So like so that we can like avoid clashing our time with the events ongoings, and also like let more students to participate on this challenging and then like try their best to do so.
Right, but what Chang Hong mentioned was the free throw challenge would happen during halftime, during the basketball game. So now you're saying that it's going to be happening at a different time. So when exactly is the challenge happening? Is this like an after school thing?
Yeah.
Is this a club activity? Is this a Monash Cup thing?
It's more like after school and then after the event, after the like
Match?
yeah. So
Oh,
like
after the
we
match.
try to having a like timetable scheduling things to like avoid the clashing things, some things like avoid the crowded and also like avoid affect the match ongoing, right? Because like the player needs to have a respect to their games, right? Yeah.
All right. So yeah, something to consider is
Yeah.
timing, and because you also don't want the students to stay later on campus, right? It's a bit dangerous. Yep. So thank you. So you guys also mentioned how you guys will have a new initiative in providing quote sports-related challenges and workshops. Can you guys specify that, and how will they encourage broad participation beyond the already sports-oriented students?
So what was the last part of the question?
So how would you? Okay, yeah, let me repeat that. How will you encourage broad participation beyond sports-oriented students? So basically, non-sports.
Yeah. Okay. So for sport challenges, I think it's kind of similar. Like if you have like if you've ever been to like a badminton matches, like international badminton matches, where they would have like challenges outside of the courts, like the players who's there
Right.
to watch the match, they could actually see the challenges, and there's some prizes and stuff they could try out, and they could win some souvenirs and stuff. So since they are already there, I think most of the students are pretty open to join the events that is going on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think that requires a bit more planning. Let's move to your last manifesto point. How will you guys measure success in continuing the legacy of our and past year's leadership? And what specific outcomes and key performance indicators will you use to gauge that effective management and leadership?
So I think this would be, first of all, I think it's about, we could focus first on EMS, where how we handle them, and maybe how many, we could, for measurable goals, measurable statistics, we could like keep track of how many issues that has like comes up during a span of time, where we could see if we have a worse statistic or better statistics. So we could see that is our things working. So we could measure the efficiency of the stuff.
Right.
And for management, for communication wise, maybe we could have since we have bi-weekly meeting, we can also have like some sort of internal performance review or feedback system where everyone could openly give feedback to, even like the committee members could give feedback regarding the hits. Maybe they think improvements can be made, so they could just voice out and we could change and build upon of the feedbacks and stuff.
Good, you guys are going to be adapting. So, small follow-up. Can you key us on how you will both divide the roles of being CNS head and, another follow-up from what you guys just said. Will you guys release those results where, like, if it's improving, are you guys going to mention that, or is it just going to be an internal, stat?
Well, I think if it's EMS is kind of internal management stuff, so I definitely most likely wouldn't publicize it to the public, because I think the general public wouldn't be that much interested in the statistic. Yeah. But if there's some kind of new initiatives, like if there's some big changes in CNS, we would definitely like share it with the public that we are starting a new initiative, and maybe you guys can look out for like changes, some new stuff is happening. Yeah.
All right, so let's just the question before that. So how will you guys be dividing the roles between you two for CNS head? Because the way Phoebe and I do it is she's mainly in charge of administrative work, and I'll be in charge of like on-site and publicity and stuff. So yeah, just let us know.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, so we will take something similar with you and Phoebe, and like mainly I'm trying to doing admin works and like Chen Hong more or like communication or external party communication, something like that. So but we were like planning to have a internal our discussion and like communication on like update our progress on which one events, and then like so that he will know what I'm thinking about and then I will know what he thinking about. So like don't have any miscommunication, something's
Okay, that's good. All right, what areas do you believe need improvement in our tenure, and how do you guys plan to address them?
Okay. For this year's is actually everything seems to be going quite well. We really planned a lot of stuffs, but I think in my opinion, I would like to further improve, make some advancement on the publicity because when it's like almost like near the Monash Cup, near August and September, we were really busy in the CNS, right? So we actually planned for a lot of stuff, but some of them never had a chance to go out to the public.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we would learn from this, and next year we would definitely start working on it earlier and maybe have a list earlier with the publicity officer, and we could make a checklist and prepare it like beforehand, like way before everything is needed. So because we already have a rough idea that what we might want and what we want to push it out to the public. Yeah.
Okay, so publicity mainly. No issues with administrative or treasury. You guys were okay? Like no further improvements for next year?
Oh yeah, for treasurer, I think because back then I was the sports officer, finance manager, so it was kind of there's a gap in the information where it would be really difficult for me to get to like the heads. So it would go through a lot of levels of communication, and finally the information will reach me. And when I want to talk back to the
it'll be the same.
Yeah, it will be the same. I'm passing the information to a lot of people. So I think next year we will definitely we will start with like 2 treasurers, or so like both of them will be focusing on CNS finance, and one of them can focus with Monash Cup, like more on Monash Cup, but there are still CNS treasurer since the start of the year, so everything is coherent with SO and also the CNS as a whole. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned just now how the publicity department can do a little better, but the thing is, everything you've mentioned thus far, where it was pre-planning, scheduling, checklists, those have been done. However, it was done in a later week. Therefore, the officers and their subcommittees obviously are going to be busy with assignments, and that's obviously like, it's a commitment, so you have to do it, but also balance your studies as well. How will ensure that not just that department, but all the other departments within division do not burn out and are still able to complete the tasks and deadlines that you guys have assigned?
Okay, so like as everyone having their assignment, right? So we can't like really force them to do like not some things can say like not belong to them, because like mainly SO part, right? But we are the committee, we are like a family for CNS, right? So like for this year, what I saw in the office, right? Like I think because I previously I CNS treasurer, so like I'm not really like touched to the SO part, but I really enjoy to like helping them on like how to finalize the match, and then like doing some things helpers, or like some things managing the match, and then so on, so that I think we can put on like scheduling things, so that we can arrange the times, like if someone can't afford to these jobs, so that they can like try to pass their partner, or like you can like trust to push to a partner that like, oh, I can't do this and then like your partner like, okay, I can like just handle it, and then like but you want to like inform earlier, right? Everything like inform earlier so that we can do a more plan A, plan B, plan C. So like solving like this like this issue, so like don't let the events delay. Yeah, right. So I think it's like main point is like communications, and then also the timetable planning, scheduling, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier in your opening statement, you mentioned special interest events. Could you please clarify the type of events that you guys intend to host for your friends and why that's necessary?
Oh, okay.
And
So
when you say friends, is it like the entire student population or your friends?
oh, okay.
Just clarify that.
Yeah, this is our planning to like increase our participants, our students to like to the event, right? So actually we have a planning ongoing is like something student suggestions. Yeah.
Okay.
We are going like having a planning on like listen to a student suggestion that what they really want to have, and then what they really want to learn from the event, so that we can like having the events more near to them, and then like they really want to learn something and enjoy the events, so that they will be happy, and then like, oh, like so the event is so fun, so like I will like invite my friends to the event, right? So yeah, I think student suggestion is quite important things. Like we gonna to provide a platform, something like social medias, that they can comment on that, what they really want to learn in the future events, and then like what they're trying to like make friends, or then like something like that. And also like after the event, we also can do something related. So like some things like student feedback forms from clubs and society, right? So that they can learn the clubs and can know that, oh, what the students really interesting in, and then what can be doing improvements, so that can let the future events more likely to be enjoyable. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good idea. Just to follow up, sorry, kind of blanked out for a second there. Do you guys, how do you guys plan to allocate the budget for that with the current, not even the current, but like let's say like how would you guys like divide that? Are you guys going to be extracting from like club funds, or is it like a bigger initiatives? And who will be hosting these events? Is it directed towards clubs and societies, or will CNS, the division, be hosting these events?
So for the suggestions from the students, so we could identify like it could be a suggestion for like maybe they want some events where we could identify that maybe this is kind of aligned with one of our clubs that's aligned with their interests, or maybe it's aligned with like multiple clubs where it could also foster collaboration with them. And for the fundings, I think one of the, if they require a lot of fundings, then that's going to be a big event. Then that's require a lot of discussion on maybe like CNS could host a big event if that's the case, that it's a event that requires a lot of funding. If not, I think if like it's maybe a collab between like 2 and 3 clubs and they're gonna have a gathering, I think the fundings can come from like admission fees, and also like maybe their members would get a lower price for entry, and the general public would have to pay more to support, to cover the expenses of the events. Yeah.
Okay, so mainly collaborations. But you said big events, so it's not necessarily from CNS. It's not another flagship event. Yes or no?
Like
flagship event is like CNS Week and Monash Cup. That's a division event.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like with these special interests, you guys are going to do collabs and stuff, right? But is this going to be another new event that will be made by CNS that will, keep going for the coming years as well, or?
I think it really depends on the idea of what kind of event it is.
Right.
Yeah, and we have to see if it's workable. Maybe we can like make it become a CNS flagship event, and so we can continue it like throughout the years.
Right.
And if it's just a simple collab, we could let the clubs handle it and let them host the events. Yep.
Good. All right, so the CNS division intends to have a charter separate from the existing constitution. It will abide by the same rules, but it will be more tiered towards the clubs and societies, so they could just easily access information. Could you tell us how you would implement this and what you guys think about it?
Okay, so about the constitution, right? Okay, so like you need to manage a club and society. You need to know about what past going and what have current happening now, and also like try to like listening on the club and society things like, is there any conflicts? Is there any opinions? Is there any something new? You need to like updated your information, right? And also like they may have need something guidelines or like handbooks to as a reference, like some things like they're doing something wrongs, but it not very seriously. So you won't giving like something warning letter or something serious thing to them. Like you just like let them know, oh, this can't be like doing in the future, or like some things advising them not to doing so. And also like we try to like planning to have a updating our handbooks so that they can follow the term and condition inside, and then like more knowing like what can be done, what cannot be doing, and also like if they have any issues or questions asking us, we also can reach out to them, like some things you cannot do, some things you can do, and some things like you need to ask our permission, some things relevant to that.
Well, since we're talking about charter, I have heard some stuff about charter, but I guess this is something in the process of like in construction, we're doing a revamp state.
Yeah, it's final. It's being finalized.
Yeah.
Nearing completion. Yes.
So I think it's something that we will work on, since it would make like the actual regulation and stuff more clear, instead of, because the constitution is generally like a principle for us to follow, but it doesn't have go into a lot of details. So having a charter definitely would help us in like outlining the responsibility, and we would have more guidance when we face like when issues comes up. We will have more guidance and have something to follow to resolve the issues. Yep.
Okay, great answers, two of you. That will be it for me. Good luck, Kiwi and Chen Hong.
Right, guys, can you please give another round of applause to Kirara? Okay, so now moving on to the next section would be the question and answer session from the students. So for students that are present with us physically, if you do have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll be passing the mic to you guys. Meanwhile, there are also some questions from a live stream, and just a reminder to all the live stream audience, if you have any questions too, please type in the chat box and we'll be addressing on behalf of you. So is there any live questions from the audience that are present with us physically? There's one, okay.
Continue what has been working. So as we know that financial, like the allocation is quite a tricky and sensitive part, where if we allocate like a little more to some clubs where we consider them deserve more fundings, then it would be, what if there's some clubs that doesn't deserve it? It would be really hard to quantitatively measure like who deserves it and who doesn't. It is potentially going to raise a lot of conflicts. So I think we will take a pretty general approach in providing club funds. But on top of that, we could instead, since we'll have a review of the budget proposal at the start of the year, we could then advise them, since we have been working as CNS treasurer, we also have some insights about like how some of the clubs are spending their money and how they are using their funds. And we could advise them on like possibly some of them have a lot of events that they're actually generating revenue, but they're also spending a lot of money, we could advise them on how to we can advise them on like revenue strategies, so they could have their fundings based on their needs. Yeah.
Do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah. Do you guys planning to bring back Cerberus?
Well, at this stage, we haven't discussed any details.
Very much interested, they still want to pursue this sponsorship in general, and how would you confront them or how would you advise them when it comes to scenarios like this?
Can I ask further information for the question? Is that so? Is that the like the term and conditions given by the sponsors is risky? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, company A offer me a quote unquote sponsorship agreement, but then the sponsorship after reviewing is very much a landslided sponsorship, meaning that it doesn't pass through as a sponsorship, but it's more of a outsourcing, I would say. Then the club still insists that they want to proceed, but you know that this is not right for them to do so. How would you approach this matter? How would you attempt to confront them, to advise them, or just to stop them in general?
So, as we will review the terms and conditions, like from the sponsor, we actually have a ELO to like they are sort of serving like more of expertise in the sponsorships where in CNS where like we have bazaars and also like we have like Monash Cup sponsors also our ELO has been assessing like the risk of the sponsorships. So I think it's really important that we really want to let the students know that we are trying to protect their rights, and we are going to tell them that we are not like stopping them from getting sponsorships, but we are trying to protect them from like maybe they were like there's some verbal agreements that make them feels like this is like a very good sponsorship, but actually in the agreement there's a lot of stuff that our students would have to do, or there's a lot of disadvantages to us. And so we would try to communicate with them and tell them that what is the reason that we think this is not a really good deal, that we shouldn't really continue with this. Yeah.
All right, is there any follow-up question?
Okay, so this is, if everything goes right, they listen to you, it's good, but if they decided to go against you, how would you approach that then?
Well, I guess if they seek for sponsorships that is without our like without our permission, it is sort of like a breach to our like constitution and our rules. So this might be quite a tricky part where, like in Monash Cup, we also have like similar stuff where they approach the vendors, approach sponsorships way before we agree to it. Then the former like sort of punishment that they would get is a warning letter, and they wouldn't be able, also according to the rules, they wouldn't be able to continue with the sponsorship. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, is everything okay? All right, so now we'll be proceeding to the live stream questions before we continue with the audience physical here. So there are few questions in the live stream. So I will just read the first question first to Hebe and Chuan Hong. So the first question is, seeing there's more and more clubs emerging year by year, overbooking of venues might be a problem, as not all clubs are under CNS, some under, for example, MAMEC or MAMTech, bracket Engineering and IT Club. How would you tackle this problem? As CNS clubs might already have EMS, it does not necessarily mean they will have the venue they intended, as staffs can book 52 weeks in advance, and CNS heads, if I'm not mistaken, is only 2 months in advance. Are you clear with the question? I can repeat it if you want to.
Okay, so this is like quite good question to me. Okay, so yeah, actually like EMS is something like they let us know what they want for the venue booking, and then like we book for them the venue, right? So okay, so if they have any clash on the time when the venue booking, so that we try to like discuss to them like, what times is going to have venue bookings, or like something's like discussion more, is it they can changing the venue or like changing the timing, something like that. If cannot, we just like think more about that. If like actually we have a planning on like planning on the venue booking, so that we have a timetable with similar with the EMS thing, have shown the venue booking time. So like it's shown like what times, what venue, what clubs or what events has booked the venue, so that they can like really know about is it the venue be booking, or like is it they need to like changing their venue for their activities or events, or like weekly training, something like that. Yeah, so like avoid the clashing of time with the staff bookings, or like any others department bookings. Yeah.
All right, so the follow-up question for this question is, seeing there are small clubs emerging, there might be an oversaturation issue, as this year has proven number of participants drop for almost every club events. How do you plan to tackle this so that all clubs get an equal opportunity to shine? If you need me to repeat the question, just let me know.
Okay, so as our clubs is many clubs here, like 50 or 60 somethings. So like we need to manage the things that is how is the new clubs be registered or like be approved to having a new club. So like we will consider like if they have any similar clubs can be as a sub clubs, or like under a sub events or something like that. And also like we try to push all the clubs in an equal way, so like they will feel like everyone is the same, and then like there won't be things like why the clubs can get more participants, and then like why my clubs is like few participants, so like they will feel like a bit unfair. So that we try to doing the things like be in a nature and third party way, so that we try to like push all the things equally, so there won't be like any unfair things like that. Yeah.
All right. So next question from the live stream audience is, how can we be sure that you guys won't embezzle the club funds?
Sorry?
How can we make sure that you guys won't embezzle the club funds?
I have a question that is the club funds is the club internal funds or like our subsidized funds?
I believe in this context is the funds that are allocated to the club.
Okay.
Yep. It is right here. The question is, how can we be sure that you guys won't embezzle club funds? So that it's the funds allocated to the clubs. Yeah. So while the candidates are thinking, for the audience on the live stream and also at the physical venue, if you have any questions, please wait patiently. We'll be addressing to you guys soon. So is the candidates ready?
So generally for club funds, for the club funds is kind of the application process for the club funds is quite clear and transparent. So the approach that we take with club funds is that we have for this year we have like a 1,000 Malaysian ringgit for everyone. So it's like it's based on your needs. Like you have an event, you want a reimbursement, we would highly likely that we would give it to you, and it's actually quite the process is quite simple. So it's I guess the process is quite transparent. That for club fund is like if you have the need, we would definitely reimburse to you. That's just like maybe you have like for additional follow-up questions on that. I could like give you more details in the club funds. Yeah.
Okay, perhaps I would just probably speak on behalf of Jiawei. And also Jiawei, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I represent you wrongly. Perhaps the question is there any transparent procedure that you'll be displaying to the student community when it comes to allocating the club funds to the clubs? To ensure that when you're allocating the funds, everyone knows the thought process behind the allocation.
Well, since the club funds is like equal allocation is like an equal amount for every clubs, I think most of the clubs will have this information quite transparently because everyone knows that they have the 1,000 subsidized. Even though if like there's a new club where they created like halfway through the semester where like Mahjong Club, they just created a new clubs, but they are good with like self-sustainable, so that they mentioned that okay, they don't want to wait until the next year for fund allocation. They are good with like funding themselves. So the whole process is quite transparent, and if you are part of the club's committee, I guess you are well informed on this information.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So from the same audience that asked the question, just to give you guys a heads up, the audience mentioned that there's no more question from him or her, but I just want to say that the two candidates are doing a very great job. Okay. All right. So is there any other questions from the audience that are present with us physically, or any live stream audience? If you guys would like to ask questions, please type in the chat. Any questions from the audience that are present with us physically here? You can just raise your hand up. Any questions? If no questions, then we'll be proceeding to the last section for today, which is the closing statement from the candidates. So during this session, the candidates will summarize all the key points that are being discussed during the debating session, and also re-emphasize to the students why they should vote for them as the head of CNS. So whenever you guys are ready.
All right. To start our closing statement, to summarize the key points from our manifesto, we are committed to keep everyone informed through weekly schedule and potentially a bi-weekly newsletter, which is a new initiative. And to enhance communication, we will have communication channels just like previously, and we will have a new initiative which is office hours, and also we'll have weekly consultations where clubs and societies could join in and raise your concerns and we could solve it together. And for Monash Club, our goal is to boost student engagement by providing activities that is suitable for all skill levels. We will build upon the efforts of our predecessors, fostering a supportive and productive environment within CNS while also maintaining a systematic approach in our daily operations. Ultimately, our goal is to ensure that CNS continue to evolve and adapt to the needs of our students, fostering a spirit of engagement and a strong sense of community. We are excited about the opportunity to introduce our fresh ideas, our leadership and effective management, and a collaborative mindset to this role. I would like to thank you all for your time and attention today. And we are dedicated to make our clubs more inclusive, more engaging, and supporting to our students, and ensuring every student has the chance to shine in our community. Together, we can create a lasting positive change, and we will be honored to have your support as your next heads of clubs and societies. Thank you.
All right, please give a round of applause to Chuan Hong and Hebe for their debating session today. So that is the end for the debating session for the candidates of Head of CNS. So the next session will be Head of Activities that will be happening at 5 p.m. So please make sure to stay tuned for that. And just a reminder to all the live stream audience, if you're around Monash campus, please come to Auditorium 2 to watch the live stream of the debating session for the Head of Activities physically. So that's it for today's session for Head of CNS candidacy. We will see you guys soon.
Thank you.